Welcome everyone to another edition of Join the Chat. This is the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important, where you're empowered to speak and also to be heard. And we try to provide a free and an open platform just to be able to express yourself. I am Renford Mr. Bojangles. I am your moderator, host for the evening today. Joining with me is Joe, the infamous Joe. He will be with me tonight. We're just going to do a back and forth session. He and I haven't broken some bread in a while. So we're just gonna chop it up, just the two of us, and you talk about some hot topics that are happening in the world right now. My brother, how are you doing?
Sorry, I left the studio for a second there. I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna jump straight into things because I don't even want to waste any time. So much stuff is on my head and on my mind right now, and with these vaccine passports that have been rolling out in Gatineau, in Quebec, and coming down the pipelines in Ontario, it's just time to have the conversation, man. The real conversation. And school is coming back into session. I get on one hand, I get this letter about no discrimination. We can't discriminate if you're LGBTQ, and make sure that their child is being addressed by the pronoun that they want to be addressed as, and the name that they want to. And yet on the other hand, we have this crazy discrimination that's happening right now with unvaccinated youth, and
hmm
they're being made to feel like outsiders, outcasts, big mark on their back. And it's not proper. It's not proper, man. So, what's your take on that, Joe?
That's a lot to unwrap there. What's my take on which part?
You can talk about any part that you want to talk about, man.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You're saying like the segregation. Your
Yeah,
son's in high school, is that correct?
yeah. He's going into grade 11. He hasn't started yet, right? So,
Yeah.
he starts next week.
What's going on there with like the
So,
high school?
well, so far they haven't said like the vaccines are mandatory to go back to high school, but definitely wearing masks, the social distancing will still be in effect. I know activities, sports, and all of that stuff is supposed to come down the pipeline later on, but who knows what that's going to entail. But
Mm,
that's where it stands right now. But as we know, every minute things change. Every week, every day, things change, right? So
yeah. Yeah, I think like there's something else going on. Like this isn't about a vaccine passport or anything like that. Like I mean, when we, the data and the evidence is out that, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated can carry and pass on the infection. So
right.
what's the point of this? Why are we spending a billion? Like, why does the prime minister say we're going to spend $1 billion to help premiers who want to implement this in their province when we could spend that $1 billion increasing beds for the ICU, which has more help and effect, in the long run.
And those are,
Our
yeah.
Go ahead.
Those are the conversations I've been having with people in the last couple of days, right? We all of a sudden have all this money that we can throw towards these campaigns. Yet we know that affordable housing is an issue. We know poverty is an issue. We know hunger is an issue. But where are the billions of dollars being pumped into those initiatives, to assist those individuals? So all of a sudden now are we saying that, this vaccine is more important than everything else under the sun? I just
Yeah.
don't.
I do you know how many I just saw this like literally 10 minutes ago. There's a candidate running for PPC. I don't know his name, but like very articulate, well-spoken man. He looks like, maybe late 30s, early 40s. He might be out of Niagara, I'm not sure. But do you know how many people under 30 died of COVID in Ottawa?
I have no idea.
Just take a guess.
30, 30 to
One.
30.
One person in Ottawa under 30 passed away of COVID.
Right.
Like that's crazy, and we're shutting down all these businesses. And here's the thing that drives me crazy is like we're not talking about the adverse effects of the vaccine. We're not
Right.
getting into those conversations and allowing parents to like myocarditis within young males is very prevalent for children who take the second shot. So your son is at risk from that, but he's not really at risk from any effects of COVID.
Right.
So in order for to put him back into society, you have to take that, maybe he could get sick from the vaccine or COVID, and you have to weigh the risk of that. And that's not fair to a parent.
And
I don't feel it is.
not only is it not fair, but most parents aren't even given those options because they're not being given the full picture. It's very one-sided. And again, for anyone who's watching, this isn't a for or against debate. It is what it is. Everyone's entitled to their opinion or whatever. But the simple thing is, we're not being given the information to make informed and educated decisions on what we should do with ourselves and what we should do with our children, and then being pressured into it. There's been a few people I've spoken to about having the vaccine remorse and have openly admitted that they only took it because they were pressured.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go through, the ostracism of not having it, and everyone was looking at them like they had four eyes and two heads if they
Yeah.
didn't take it, or if they didn't take their second dose in time.
Yeah. Well, I think the funny thing now is like when people talk about the vaccine, and I'm not vaccinated, and I'm just waiting. Do you know what I mean? Like I probably will have to get it at some point, but I don't need it right now. I've recovered from COVID. And people ask me like, "Oh, you're not going to get it," and like, the same stuff you're talking about. And I said, "Well, have you registered for your booster shot yet?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? What I mean? Like, you're not paying attention. Like, the booster shot is coming.
Right.
We follow what Israel's done because they are the first ones to get mass vaccinated, and now they're saying that anyone past 6 months of their second vaccination doesn't qualify as fully vaccinated. So you're going to have people who have 3 jabs getting upset because the people with 2 jabs are no longer fully vaccinated."
Right. And that's going to be something where it has nothing to do with the vaccine anymore. It's like, I had to take this. Why don't you? You need to do it. And then it becomes me against you, right? And that's what I've been really seeing nowadays is the division. You can't
Yeah.
even have a regular conversation and people are able just to express opposing opinions
Yeah.
and just have that conversation. It's like, the vaccinators are trying to push their point and push their opinion. The unvaccinated are trying to push their point, their opinion, and nobody's actually having the conversation in the middle to say like, what
Yes.
do we actually have in common? Like, what are we actually saying? At the end of the day, the vaccine doesn't make anyone bulletproof.
No.
So
It also doesn't help when you have like the Toronto Star with the paper that they just posted, talking about, like, I forget what it was, but basically, I'm giving air quotes here, that if someone who's anti-vaxxer, I hope they die. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
no one who's not taking the vaccine is saying like, I hope people die of COVID. You know what I
right,
mean? I'm saying I want you to make your choice. If you feel safe taking the vaccine, take the vaccine. I'm happy for you. My daughter has the vaccine. I don't want people to die from that, but I also don't want people to die from COVID either. But like there's a 99.98% chance we're going to survive COVID. Like, let's start pushing healthy food choices. Let's start
exactly, right,
pushing exercise. Let's start
right.
pushing, grounding, putting your feet on grass and just like feeling the earth. As dumb as that sounds, it's the truth. But like this comes and stems from like the dumbing down of society. We're getting dumber and dumber and dumber, and people are just like, oh, well, the media said it, so it must be true. They don't care about me.
Well, another thing that I've seen that this is showing how dependent we as a society are on these distractions, on entertainment, on feeling good, on going to these places, going to restaurants, going to movie theaters, going to places that just make us feel good. Because when the pandemic first happened, as inconvenient as it was not to be able to go to the gym, we were running outside. People were jogging. Bike shops were sold out, right?
Mhm.
Like we were doing different things. People were baking, couldn't find flour in any store. So it's like
Or
we
toilet
found
paper.
alternatives, but now all of a sudden, what do you say?
Or toilet paper.
I I still want to know if some people still have like just mounds and mounds of
Uh,
toilet paper stacked up in their basement. Like, have they gone through it yet? Are they, are they
yeah.
selling it on like eBay or something? Like, I don't know.
Well, I shop at Costco, so like anytime like paper towel or toilet paper goes on sale, like $5 off, I usually buy 2 or 3 rolls. And now I look around, I'm like, I can't even get this anymore because people just think I'm a jerk.
Yeah, you
uh,
know. But we,
like
we were able to do without the distractions before. We were able to do without entertainment. We found different ways to entertain ourselves. We got back to the grassroots, things that
yeah.
were important in our lives. And it's amazing how now how entertainment has been pushed in our face again. And we
Ooh,
forgot
that's a good
about
point.
how our ability to be just to find different methods. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We've
I,
forgotten
I
about
don't
how.
disagree with you in that point, but like I kind of see it in a different way. Like I think we're really reliant on the government to save us. You know what I mean? Too many people are like, oh, like the government's gonna get us out of this, like and like, small businesses are gonna be screwed right now.
Oh,
Like
big
this is
time.
the end. This is the end of the small business because this is what I see happening. Like for me, all the things you said that we're reliant on, like at the beginning of the pandemic, we got outside, we were super nice to each other. You know, what I mean,
Right.
everyone was compassionate, caring. You see each other, excuse me, go ahead. And now it's the complete opposite. It's like it's almost like we're afraid to see each other again. Um, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about the
Oh yeah,
government, people
the,
dependent on the government saving us.
the entertainment part is like I realize now, like when you're trying to paint me in this corner or this picture on me, I realize how much I don't need that stuff.
Right.
I'm like I talk about my wife about this, and she's like, I don't want to like miss out on these things for 2 years or 3 years while this thing's going on. I'm like, well, you just missed out on it for the last 2 years, and like, really, did it really have that much effect on you? And she's like, no, not really. Like now that I think about it, like to me, like I think we're at the second wave of the real pandemic where our life is changed that first part, but our life is really about to change right now.
Yeah.
Like
I
we're
agree with you on that too. And I'm
like
like,
we're
but
about,
I'm like your wife though, right? Like I had that muscle memory where the restaurants open on the block at work again, and I was out there buying Subway and patronizing certain restaurants. I didn't need to before. I was brown bagging it. I was bringing my lunch to
yeah,
work, all that stuff. But then it's the convenience, right?
yeah,
So I got back into that convenience. So I understand why people miss it and all of that stuff. I don't
yeah.
think it's always government trying to save us, but it's just that muscle memory of this is how it used to be, so I'm gonna go back to that. And it's crazy because the food that I'm buying with these fast food joints don't even agree with my body because they've been so foreign to my body for so long. And I was like, that roast chicken from Subway doesn't really taste like chicken. It tastes really rubbery right now. But hey,
Delivered in a box. No, like I totally agree with you. I think that like the people who are serious about this, where does this lead? And I'm quoting someone who I can't really verify, but he said there's 6.5 million people in Canada that don't want to get the vaccine. That's not like it's not even a third of the population. That's like what, an eighth of the population or something like that, or a fifth or a sixth or something. I'm
I want
checking
to
my
just commend
math.
you on your mathematics skills. Good job.
Pardon?
I just want to commend you on your mathematics skills. I can tell school's back in session. Good
Yeah.
job, Joe.
Yeah, it's like to me, like that's not a lot, but like you want to fire nurses and group home staff and all these people that take care of the most important people of our society, but you know when you fire these people, that's what's going to be causing. Sorry, it's like a swarm of people walking past my car right now, and I'm like, I'm in Manitic, I'm pretty safe. Just that situation.
They're trying to figure out what you're doing in your car with your lights on in the middle
Yeah,
of the night. That's what they're trying to figure out.
yeah. You're not from around here. That situational awareness kicking in. Uh, yeah. Sorry, what was I talking about?
You're talking about the nurses
Oh yeah,
and
you want to fire all these people who don't want the vaccine, and then who you think you have a shortage in your public healthcare system? We're
and
about
they're already short.
Yeah, you're gonna fire all these people. Like, I have friends who work in group homes, and they're talking about not taking kids in who are vaccinated. So like now, what's gonna happen is like the verbiage and the language around parents who aren't vaccinated is like they're a threat to the children. Like this is what your prime minister is saying. So we're not going to let you get on a plane or a train and risk our kids and our families. Well, that means that we're putting our kids at risk based off that language. And when you say I'm putting my kid at risk, that means that Children's Aid or that legal system could come into my home and take my children away. And once they do that, they're a ward of the state. And now they have the autonomy to say, we're going to vaccinate these children as they come in.
Right.
And people aren't thinking like that. People are like, no, that stuff's not going to happen. You're crazy. Well, people were also crazy 18 months ago saying the vaccine passport's going to come in. So where are we now?
Exactly, right. And that's as you're talking about protect our children, because I'm seeing these election campaign ads right now, and it's like we gotta do this to protect our children. But then you're gonna allow a mark to be placed on them to say that they're unvaccinated and they're gonna be treated differently, and then they're not allowed to attend this event, they're not allowed to participate in that activity. As I was saying earlier, like I just had to take my son out of his extracurricular, his competitive
Mhm.
basketball, because the club that he's playing for wants everyone to be fully vaccinated, and I just had to tell him I have to take a stand. Like,
Yeah.
where does it stop? Right now, it's oh you can't participate unless you have the vaccine. Then it's oh you can't because of this, and then you can't because of that, and we're just limiting things, and we're opening this Pandora's box. And like as you were alluding to earlier, now it's the vaccine, then it's the booster, and then every 6 months you're going to need it, and then that passport's going to expire, and then you're going to have to re-up and get another booster, and then they're going to have your DNA on file, and that's going to be there. What happened to confidentiality and medical privacy?
That's out the window right now, man.
Out the window.
It's out the window.
Out the window.
People are applying for jobs, and if you have to be on site, you have to be fully vaccinated. So they have to know. And here's what's going to happen: is small business is going to go out the window because there's there's businesses who are standing up against this, saying we're not going to take vaccine passports. We don't care. We're not going to segregate. But the government's going to come in and fine the crap out of these people. $50,000 fines, and these people can't open their business the same way people were opening on a COVID restriction. You think that the government's not going to come in with bylaw and knock on your business, and these people are going to be, you know, as tough as people want to talk, even guys like me and you saying, we got to take a stand. There's some point we break, and they're going to just push it and push it and push it and push it till you break. There's a lot of weak people out there that when it comes to my kids, like you're going to take my kids away from me, I'm probably going to take the vaccine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like in all reality, I'm not going to stand here and let my kids go in the system, and I gotta like fight with the lawyers to get them back. I'll be like, okay, fine. I want my kids to be here, or you have to take off somewhere and leave before it's too late.
Yeah.
You have to be in a province or country that and like wow, this honestly, this from like I'm not even gonna go that way. I'm not going that way. I'm not going that way.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Like it's just the time that we're in right now is I don't want to say it's uncomfortable, but it's uncomfortable. Like we can't just be ourselves. We can't be in our own skin. We can't just do what we feel is best. There's all these pressures, all these things that are being just downloaded onto us, and we're just supposed to accept it. We're just supposed to adopt it, and that's challenging. That's problematic for sure.
Well, like no one's talking about freedom.
No.
You know, like we're not talking about freedom. People are like, oh, you don't have like this isn't you don't get freedom because other people's health is at risk. But it's like and like trust the science. But like, what about the doctors and the nurses that are saying like, yo, this is not the science you should be following? Like, why are we not listening to them? Why are they blocking the PPC party from talking at the debates? Because
Hmm.
all three parties are for vaccine mandates. They're
Right.
blocking the PPC party from showing up there because they're going to raise hell in that debate.
Right.
And like people are talking about, voting, and you got to vote conservative and don't split the votes. But like, if you don't, the only party I know of that's speaking up against this is PPC party. Everyone else is like Jagmeet Singh, Aaron O'Toole, and Justin Trudeau are all talking about we they want to, force vaccination and vaccine certificate.
I could be wrong. I thought Jagmeet Singh was speaking about he was saying everyone who wants to get the vaccine will be able to get it, not that they were going to make it mandatory. I could be wrong. I'm not following it to a T, so that may have just been an earlier, I guess, position that I heard. I could be wrong. I
That
don't expect
guy,
you to be an expert on it either. I'm just,
no, that guy lost my respect when he was calling people white supremacists who were anti-vaxxers, and then you catch him hugging his like bodyguard or something like that. So he was got called out for that. It's like the rhetoric they're using around this language. It's like, yo, this is like moms and dads, of every race saying they don't want it, saying they don't need it. This is not just white people anti-vaxxers. Like they're not even anti-vaxxers. Like we're not anti-vaxxers if our children have vaccines besides this one. You know what I mean? Like
right.
people need to get that through their head. Like we're just like, we want to be safe. We want to make informed decisions. We want to know, like, and like people are talking about this as gene therapy. I have no clue what that even means. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand what the gene therapy is, but like I hear people talking about like an experimental vaccine that's gene therapy. I have no clue what that is, but it makes me think and open my mind and like go into more research. And like,
Right, right.
and I have people blasting me because like I post stuff all the time on Instagram. A guy told me yesterday, like, you think your 600 followers care about what you're saying? I'm like, man, like if one wakes up and pays attention, then like good on them, you know?
Just want to commend you for a round of applause, 600 followers. Round of applause. That's a big feat. I remember when it was just one, and like you're
My mom.
going for the next 5 and 10. Good for you. It's not just mom and dad anymore. Good for you and wifey. Good for you. 600. Keep growing. Keep going strong, Joe. I back you. I don't have it, but I support you. I'll follow you if I get it.
It's almost time to go, I think. It's time to get
Yeah,
rid
so
of it.
again, every single time we have one of these join the chats, it's always a take home that we always try to leave. And I just really, really, really employ people to have conversation, to have open conversation, be open to hear whatever, both sides, both perspectives. But we're at a point now where we also have to look at individuals who are on the same side with you. Power is always with numbers. It's time to find those allies. It's time to try your best not to hide and feel so fearful or feel so pressured, but stand up with your position. There's more people like you than you think, and
Mhm.
and band together. Really, we have to band together in this time.
Yeah, I agree.
You
And I
know,
think another note on that too is like have compassion. I mean, like we're all, whatever happens, like if the vaccine
and he's frozen, but yeah, again, have compassion.
cut out there.
Yeah,
We're
you cut
back.
out for a little bit. You
Okay.
stopped. You stopped on have compassion.
Uh, have compassion. Like like whoever's right in this debate, like people are conspiracy theorists. If they're wrong, have compassion. If they're right, have compassion on the other side because people, like my gut feeling tells me is that like this winter is going to be different than we've ever seen in our life,
Yeah.
and that we're going to have to really look out for each other, and you really have to look out for your family. I think that the next 6 months is going to be a big shift in the way our lives are lived, and people aren't ready for that.
And it's not so much too in terms of have compassion because everyone could be right or truth is truth, but like at the end of the day, we're truly in this thing together.
Hmm.
Vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can still contract it and you can still transmit it. So we
Yeah,
are literally in this thing together, and there's no time to be you're not going to give somebody else aid because they're unvaccinated. You're not going to treat them.
yeah,
Like, is this the standpoint that we're going to get to? Is this the threshold that we're going to look at?
yeah,
Not what it should be. Not what it should
yeah.
be.
You're not going to take care of a 13-year-old boy who comes to the hospital because his parents didn't want him to get vaccinated.
Yeah. And forget the hospital, right? Like on the way to the hospital, are you not going to stop and call 911? Are you not going to stop and give
Yeah.
assistance? Are you not going to, let that person give that person a drive? You're not going to give that person, water? Like, is it really divide and conquer? I
Well,
hope
just
not. I really hope not.
if it is, I'm just not like stop asking me for my tax money. You know what I mean? I'll keep 40% more of my money every year, and I'll find a nurse who left her job and doctors, and we'll find our own businesses. Like there's 50,000 businesses in this Ontario Facebook group that are against the mandates. They're saying we're going to open up and serve anyone who comes through. You know, like, and the thing is too is like this is just going to push out more small businesses. More small businesses are going to close, and that's going to be the end of it.
And as you said before, like nurses with the Bill 124, like not being able to get a raise, but they're short staffed. So they're doing the job of 2, 3, 4 nurses. They're on the front lines. And they've been in the trenches for the last 2 years, and now they're on the verge to be exiled.
Yep.
That makes no sense. So I stand in solidarity with all my nurses as well. Juliana Leal is here with us saying, hey, gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so we were just talking about vaccines, and today's session is nice, short, and sweet. We gave a good half hour, and Joe, it's always a pleasure seeing you, man. I see
likewise, brother. Appreciate it.
Coffee or hot chocolate or whatever you're drinking there.
Support small business.
I don't know if that's small anymore. I think they've graduated to a big size business. Juliana, Kimmy is not with us tonight, unfortunately. She will be back on the next session. She had to just handle some business. We miss Miss Fabulosity, but she'll be back on the rebound. Give her a call on the cell phone. Joe, any final words for tonight, man, as we're getting out of here?
Just like, man, we're in this together. Just love each other. Have compassion. We're all souls underneath this rackety skin that we're in. We're all spirits and souls, and just be kind to each other. We're all the same.
Yes, sir. I concur. We are more alike than we are different. Let's just keep having conversation, understanding that everyone is speaking from the vantage point that they know best. And it might not be an educated one. It might
even us
be an overly educated one, but we're only talking based on what we know. So, just listen to your one another's. Keep the conversation going. Band together with those who are like-minded. Again, we are more alike than we're different. We're in this thing together. Joe, on behalf of everyone on Join the Chat, I am Renford, Mr. Bojangles. Now that you have joined the chat, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Join us on our YouTube page, comment, watch some of our past videos, and just know that we will be back in 2 weeks, having real conversations about real topics. This is Join the Chat, the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important, where we empower you to speak and also to be heard, and we just try to find and provide an open platform to have some dialogue. Renford, Mr. Bojangles signing off. Joe, one love, my brother. Always a pleasure.
Chat soon.
Bless.